Hi YouTube. I'm going to do my bread video today that I thought you'd like to see. We got our wood burner going. It's nice and toasty in here, which is a good thing because it started snowing this morning, so it was perfect timing. And Scott got the chimney done last night about 30 minutes before it started raining, and it rained all night long. So it really was perfect timing. But anyway, I'm gonna show you how I make my regular bread today, and I'll also show you how I make pizza dough. So let's get going. I will put my recipe for the bread dough in the comments below, but start out with, and this makes 2 loaves of Italian bread, which we kind of go back and forth between wanting Italian bread and wanting white bread. The white bread recipe that I use is called Amish white bread, and it's very sweet. It has a lot of sugar in it, so I like to cut the sugar down. But this one is like the perfect flavor, and we use it all the time. So start out with 2 1/3. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. I have to double it in my head. It's 2 2/3 cups of warm water. Make sure it's about 105 degrees, 110 degrees. Anything hotter will kill your yeast. Just a second. Okay, so we got our 2 2/3 cups of water, and I will need 1.5 tablespoons of yeast, and then 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of oil. I usually use olive oil, but I'm out, so I'm just using peanut oil here. Okay. And then a tablespoon of salt. Okay. Because I bake bread so often, I buy flour in either 25 or 50 pound bags, and I keep it in this handy dandy container. This container holds about 20 to 25 pounds of flour. Keeps the bugs out of it, keeps it fresh. You're going to need 8 cups of flour, and I recommend bread flour for making bread. It has a higher gluten content in it, so your bread rises much better than it does with just all-purpose flour. So 8 cups, I'm on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. When I started making bread like 25 years ago, I was originally using a bread machine, and it made 1 pound loaves, which when you have 6 kids, that is nothing. I mean, they go through that in 2 seconds. So what I started doing is just rising the dough in the bread machine and then baking it in my own pans. And then eventually I got one of these babies, KitchenAid, and I stopped using the bread machines altogether. Now, I've also had to make bread by hand without the help of a bread machine or a KitchenAid, and it's easy, you know, but I like this way the best. Okay, so lock it. You're gonna want to mix the dough until it's smooth and elasticky, which takes about between 5 and 10 minutes. It just depends. The conditions change daily based on humidity in the air, based on yeasts in the air, based on temperature. Where we live now, our altitude is higher, so I actually have to add more water to my recipe. Even though I said to put 2 2/3 cups of water, I always have to put 3 in, or it doesn't turn out right. So with all my bread recipes, I have to adjust the water and the baking times. Okay, we'll take you off here and show you it mixing. You don't want, if you're using a stand mixer, you don't want the speed to go beyond 2 because that would just be too hard for the engine. So slow and steady makes better bread. While the bread's mixing, Scott's over here. He's working on, where is it?
Still in pieces, yeah?
Oh, I was gonna show the pieces.
End chair.
Oh, there it is. He's putting together our other ceiling fan and getting those up so we can have the fans going to help spread the heat throughout the house. But honestly, it's been really nice. I mean, no complaints. And these fans are cool. They've got the mason jar
LED bulb.
covers and the Edison LED bulbs. We haven't seen it on yet, so once we have these hooked up and running, I'll make sure to show you what they look like. But they're really pretty. I can't wait to see them and have them going. And also I'll have more light in the kitchen area for when I'm making videos, because right now everything's kind of blue. Okay, so you can see the dough is almost there. Scott's up there getting the wiring ready for the ceiling fan. No. Seamus is not wanting to be visible today. There's we got a nice steady fire going in the fireplace and the wood stove, and Raven loves curling up right next to it.
As close to under as possible.
Yeah, when in our old house we had a big timberline wood stove, and that thing was massive, and it came up, I don't know, a foot and a half off the ground. And Raven, and that thing was solid steel, and the whole thing got very hot, And Raven would crawl underneath it and sleep under it while we had it going. I don't know how she handled that heat, but well, I guess because she was underneath it, probably the fire bricks insulated her a bit from the heat. Don't fall. If you fall, I will. Alright, I think our dough's about done. Okay. It's just about perfect. See, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even have the camera on it. Yeah, see, it looks a little damper than I would normally have it, but that's because we have to adjust the water for our altitude, but that's perfect. Okay, so now that the dough is done, I'm going to take one of my bowls, any bowl's fine. A little bit of oil on it, and then just move it around so it all gets covered. Otherwise, your dough could dry out while it's rising. And then just put a tea towel over it and let it rise. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour for the bread to rise. Okay, and now we will do some pizza dough. So I will need 1 1/3 cup of water. My water's kind of hot, so I'm going to do half hot. Then I need 1 1/2 or 2 teaspoons of yeast. 2 teaspoons of yeast. I need a tablespoon of white sugar. Quarter cup of oil. Again, I usually use olive oil, but I'm out, so I'm using peanut oil right now. Okay. You need 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And then 4 cups of flour. And again, I'm just using bread flour. Even for pizza dough, it's really good. Down, lock the top, and put it on the mix, and we'll mix that up again for about 5 minutes. I buy all my baking goods in bulk, sugar, flours, yeast. I get the big 3-pound bag, and I keep my yeast in the freezer. That helps keep it fresh. I do my shopping at Amish or Mennonite bulk stores. So, you know, like yesterday I got a 50-pound bag of bread flour, and it was like $17. And I think a 50-pound bag of cane sugar was like $39. So I just got 20 pounds, because they'll bag it up in 10-pound bags where we shop, or you can get the 50-pound bag. With only 2 kids being home, we don't go through sugar as much as we used to, and plus Seamus isn't drinking Kool-Aid anymore like he used to, so we don't go through the sugar as much. However, I will be baking for the next 2 months, so it's best just to stock up. Okay, so we let this mix until it's like the bread dough, smooth and elasticky. Let's take a peek and see where Scott is on the ceiling fan. Getting it wired up. So that's a bit, what'll even be more nice about the ceiling fans is when I'm cooking, or I put my cast iron skillet on the stove to season it, and I forget about it and it smokes, the ceiling fans will disperse the smoke. I don't burn food, I just overcook my pans. That's only because I got sidetracked by, I think I was watching a Off Grid with Doug and Stacy video. We're gonna go, they're coming to Kid Ron next weekend to Lehman's. And we only live about 30-40 minutes away from Lehman's, so we're going to go down there and meet them. I'm excited. Meet some of our YouTube faves. Okay, let's check our pizza dough here. It's still a little chunky at the top. Let's just take it off and let it remix a little bit. It's about done now. This morning, let's see if this will focus. No, it's not gonna. It was snowing outside. Here's my crochet garland I made. And I was very thankful that we had our wood burner finally working. Trees still have a lot of leaves on them, but I think maybe 1 or 2 more rains and winds and they'll be naked. Okay, this is done. So once again, well, I'm just going to leave it in this bowl instead of dirtying up another bowl. And this is fun doing this with one hand. So there's the pizza dough. Put a little bit of oil on it and just roll it around. This isn't working one-handed. In the oil, so all sides are covered so it doesn't dry out while it's rising. And then I'll cover it up and I will be back when they're ready to do more with. See you soon. Hey guys, looks like our bread dough's ready. You want to let it rise until it's about double its size. So let me get the pans together and I'll show you how I shape it and get it in its pans. Okay, I'm back. I got my pans. And these are basically kind of seasoned like my cast iron pans are, but every few batches of bread I like to oil them up, particularly in the corners because that's where it's usually sticks. But I don't oil them every time.
Yeah.
I don't need to. I mean, you need to. Okay, so those are ready. We go here. Push the air out. I mean, you can punch it down. If I'm having a bad day, I'll actually punch it. Oh, the light's not very good on that.
Sorry.
Cut it in half because these will make 2 loaves.
Sorry, a second.
Now to shape my loaves, flatten it out with my knuckles, and I'll just roll it up real tight. And then where the seam is on the bottom, I roll it, I push the ends over, see, and then I roll it, try to push any air bubbles out. Nice loaf. Take my knife and I need to get one of those, I don't know what they're called. Basically, it's a fancy bread. Here's the other one. Huh? No, it's like a razor blade on a handle, and there's a name for it, but I can't remember. I just use my sharp knives. I don't need to have any fancy razor blade on a handle. Up. Score. No. Alright, so
No.
we're going to let those rise until they're about an inch over the top of the pan. And in the meantime, I'm going to set the oven to bake at 375, get it preheated so it's nice and ready. And I'll be back when it's time to throw them in. There's the ceiling fans. Trying to get a shot of the Edison bulbs, but it's too bright. But I'll finally have light over my stove area now. Very nice. Move the air around
What's
now.
going on? What's going on?
Let's check our bread. It's about risen. So. It's about an inch over the top of the side. So, get it in the oven. time around 30 minutes. And I'm gonna add a couple more minutes because of the altitude thingy, and I will be back when they're done. And later on I'll show you how I make pizza. If you like our ceiling fans, I thought I'd show you which kind it is. It's a Hunter Designer Series Auburndale ceiling fan. That's the picture of it there. And we got this at Menards. I don't know. I know not everyone has a Menards, but all the big box stores sell Hunter, so I mean that's like the major ceiling fan maker. So Auburndale, that's the name of it, and it comes with the LED Edison lights and the cute ball jars. It all comes with it, so you don't have to buy an extra light kit with it. Okay, the bread's done, so let's take a look. Love this. There you have it. Italian white loaves. Okay, in a few minutes I'm going to start getting things ready for making pizza, so I will be back.